what is the difference between a coupon and a yield? So coupon or the interest rate is the periodic interest payment made by the borrower to the bond investor. मतलब issuer ने जो first time interest rate define किया कि I will pay X amount, for an example हमारे केस में 10% था, that becomes the coupon rate और the percentage of face value, यानी कि interest rate आपका define हुआ. Similar to a बैंक FD, अगर हम FD ऐसा बहुत कॉमन प्रोडक्ट है, सबको मालूम है, FD में आपको रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट होता है जो डिफाइंड हो जाता है. सेम इज द केस, हमारे रेट में इंटरेस्ट रेट को कूपन रेट बोलते हैं बॉन्ड के इन्वेस्टमेंट में. So if you have invested 10 lakh rupees, 10% coupon rate है with a frequency of annual payment, so every year you will get 1 lakh rupees in interest payment. एक normal calculation and example साथ में रखा हुआ है to understand. But एक yield क्या होता है? Yield is the absolute return that a bond investor would receive from the bond over the period of time. Now जब भी प्राइमरी मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट किया यानी फर्स्ट टाइम बॉन्ड इशू हुआ और इन्वेस्टर ने इन्वेस्ट किया तो उसको कूपन रेट ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट, कूपन रेट एज एन इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट मिलेगा. बट सपोज यू हैव बॉट द बॉन्ड इन द सेकेंडरी मार्केट यानी सेकेंडरी ट्रांजैक्शन ड्यूरिंग द लाइफ साइकिल ऑफ अ बॉन्ड, इफ यू हैव परचेज्ड अ बॉन्ड, obviously bond prices are also subject to fluctuation depending upon various conditions, market pricing, demand and supply, interest rate movements. So price of a bond can change. The face value still remains the same. Bond का price change हो सकता है depending upon market conditions. If you purchase a bond at a particular price, the price can be lower or higher than the face value of the bond. और हम उसको बोलते हैं at par value of the bond. अगर आपने बॉन्ड को लोअर प्राइस पे परचेज किया तो आपका इफेक्टिव यील्ड हायर हो जाएगा, और अगर आपने वही बॉन्ड को अगर हायर वैल्यू पे परचेज किया आपका इफेक्टिव यील्ड कम हो जाएगा. आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू यील्ड एंड प्राइस ऑफ अ बॉन्ड इन द नेक्स्ट स्लाइड. कहने का मतलब ये है
जस्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड और रिएटरेट जो आप बोल रहे हैं, अगर कोई चीज एग्जांपल के तौर पे जैसे आपने एक्सप्लेन किया 100 रुपए का बॉन्ड है और उसमें 10% की इंटरेस्ट है, अगर मैंने उसको प्राइमरी में लिया और मुझे 10% का रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट मिल रहा है तो मेरी रिटर्न है 10%.
करेक्ट.
बट यही 100 रुपए की चीज बॉन्ड अगर मैंने 90 रुपए में सेकेंडरी मार्केट में खरीदा विच इज एट अ डिस्काउंट और मुझे इंटरेस्ट मिलेगा फेस वैल्यू पे 10 रुपया, तो मेरा रिटर्न जो है वो 11.11% हो जाता है.
करेक्ट.
एंड यही चीज अगर मैंने 110 रुपए में खरीदा तो मेरी रिटर्न गिर जाएगी, जहाँ के 10% थी वो शायद 9-9.5% पे जाके गिरेगी.
हाँ, तो उसका फंक्शन ऐसे होता है कि आपको इश्यू बोरोवर ने यानी इश्यूअर ने 100 रुपए एग्जाम्पल बोरो किया था. एट द मैच्योरिटी ही विल स्टिल पे 100 रुपीज बैक टू द इन्वेस्टर ऑफ द बॉन्ड whosoever is holding the bond. But during the period of the life cycle of a bond, for an example, अगर bond 5 years का है, 3 साल बाद for any condition the price of the bond has come down, effective price for market conditions. So आपने वो 90 rupees में परचेज किया, so your investment value is 90 rupees but the maturity value is still 100 rupees. So आपने कम पैसा लगाया और आपको मिला पूरा 100 रुपये. So जो differential yield मतलब from the date of investment से मेच्योरिटी के बीच का जो एब्सोल्यूट रिटर्न आया इन्वेस्टर को वो यील्ड हो गई. तो आपने सस्ते में यानी डिस्काउंट में शॉप किया, कोई प्रोडक्ट खरीदा और रियलाइजेशन आपको हायर हुआ तो आपकी इफेक्टिव यील्ड बढ़ गई, क्योंकि बॉन्ड में परसेंटेज टर्म्स यानी यील्ड को काउंट किया जाता है एज अ रेट ऑफ रिटर्न. और यही चीज अगर आपने 100 रुपए की जगह 105 रुपए में या 110 रुपए में किया, आपको 110 रुपए का इन्वेस्टमेंट है बट रिटर्न आना एब्सोल्यूट आपका प्रिंसिपल बैक कितना होगा 100 रुपीज का फेस वैल्यू पे. तो आपने 110 रुपीज दिया पर मिला आपको 100 रुपीज. तो 10 रुपीज इज द प्रीमियम विच यू हैव पेड. सो योर इफेक्टिव यील्ड हैज कम डाउन. देयर इज नो चेंज इन टर्म्स ऑफ द रिटर्न्स, मतलब रिटर्न आपको फिर भी मिलेगा. आपका इफेक्टिव यील्ड प्रोपोर्शनेट रिटर्न फॉर द टाइम पीरियड इज बेसिकली नोन एज द यील्ड, relative return for an investor. Yield to maturity, yes. So as a name suggests, yield to maturity यानी दो ही major terms हैं, yield and maturity. Maturity यानी when the bond is getting matured या principal वापस आ रहा है. Yield हमने अभी समझा जो मेरा इन्वेस्टमेंट है उसको अगर मैं फ्यूचर कैश फ्लोज डिस्काउंट करूंगा, अगर मेरे को 5 साल के बॉन्ड में मैंने सेकेंड ईयर में इन्वेस्ट किया, so मेरी रेसिडुअल मेच्योरिटी एज एन इन्वेस्टर इज फॉर ओनली 3 years. So I will get returns for 3 years interest payment cycle. अगर मैं ये 3 years का interest add करता हूँ और अपना effective yield निकालता हूँ for the time period, that return is known as yield. Yield to maturity. आज invest किया till maturity मैंने को जो पूरा return मिला, that return is known as yield to maturity. Now, some bonds have call options in place. We have covered this in our earlier presentations about call and put provisions in bonds. Call option यानी कि issuer के पास right होता है to exercise the call option, यानी कि वो bond पहले ही mature कर सकता है. This condition is already defined in the terms and conditions when the bond is issued. उसमें call date define किया जाता है. If the bond has been exercised, the call option has been exercised, then your effective yield you should calculate not on the basis of maturity but on the call date, yield to call, because we anticipate when calculating the yield structure is there is a possibility that issuer might exercise the call option. So the yield or the return from the date of investment to the call date is known as yield to call or YTC. We have an example out here, the Punjab National Bank ka bond hai, which has a 9.05% coupon rate. It has an interest payment frequency annually. Maturity date is 2027. But the issue has a call date in November 10, 2022. There is a high possibility that issuer might exercise the call option. Now, in these circumstances, आप YTM नहीं कैलकुलेट करते, आप YTC कैलकुलेट करते हैं, यानी yield to call date कैलकुलेट करते हैं. So to get your effective return on your investment, this bond is currently available at YTC of 6.25%. So bond price and bond yield has an inverse correlation. मतलब एक ऊपर जाता है तो दूसरा नीचे आता है.
This is like the London eye that you made for bond price and bond yield. This is the bond eye.
Easy for people to understand. Bond eye बोल लीजिए London eye की जगह, but it is the easiest format for people to understand. अगर price ऊपर जाएगा तो yield नीचे आएगी, और अगर yield ऊपर जाएगी तो price नीचे आएगा. ठीक है? It is an inverse seesaw relationship, inverse correlation हम बोलते हैं. मतलब कि अगर मैंने फिर से मैं वही एग्जांपल लेके आता हूँ, 100 रुपए का वैल्यू ऑफ अ बॉन्ड है, यानी एट पार वैल्यू ऑफ बॉन्ड है. फेस वैल्यू कैन बी एनीथिंग, बट एट पार वैल्यू हम जो बोलते हैं, इट इज 100 रुपए एट पार वैल्यू बॉन्ड. तो फर्स्ट टाइम इश्यू हुआ एट पार वैल्यू पे हुआ, सो योर कूपन रेट इज इक्वल टू योर YTM अगर आपने सेम बॉन्ड को होल्ड किया फ्रॉम द डेट ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट टिल मेच्योरिटी, क्योंकि योर इन्वेस्टमेंट अमाउंट वाज 100 रुपीस, योर मेच्योरिटी अमाउंट इज 100 रुपीस, and whatever the coupon rate is becomes your interest, becomes your effective yield. But if in between you have purchased the bond, if you have done any transaction, there is a possibility that you might buy a bond at 101 rupee or 102 rupee or 103 rupees. मतलब आपने इन्वेस्टमेंट किया हायर अमाउंट और आपको रियलाइजेशन होगा पार वैल्यू, यानी कि फेस वैल्यू 100 रुपीज. सो क्या हुआ, आपका कॉस्ट ऑफ परचेजिंग दैट एसेट हैज इंक्रीज्ड, सो आपका रिटर्न ऑफ दैट सेम प्रोडक्ट विल बी लो, यानी कि रेट ऑफ रिटर्न हमारे पर्सपेक्टिव में यानी कि यील्ड हमारे लिए नीचे आ गई. बट अगर आपने सेम प्रोडक्ट लोअर प्राइस पे बाय किया, यानी एट पार वैल्यू से लोअर प्राइस बाय किया, यानी 95 रुपीज में फॉर एन एग्जांपल अगर परचेज किया, पर मेच्योरिटी वैल्यू आपको मिला 100 रुपीज, तो आपने सस्ते में खरीदा और आपको मेच्योरिटी वैल्यू का 100 रुपी प्राइस मिला, यानी कि योर कॉस्ट यानी प्राइस इज लोअर देन योर इफेक्टिव यील्ड इज हायर. Okay, inverse relationship, lower price higher yield, higher price lower yield. अब एक बहुत कॉमन फ्रेज आता है पब्लिक और इन्वेस्टर्स के माइंड में कि हम प्राइस क्या पे कर रहे हैं बॉन्ड की, एंड हाउ टू वेरीफाई इट दैट इज द करेक्ट प्राइस और नॉट. नाउ टू मेक इट मोर इजी फॉर पीपल टू अंडरस्टैंड, वी हैव जस्ट रिटन इट डाउन इन अ एक्सेल फॉर्मेट, तो आपको इजीली समझ में आए कि अगर एक पार वैल्यू ऑफ बॉन्ड को जब फर्स्ट टाइम इश्यू होता है और 100 रुपीज हम काउंट करते हैं पार वैल्यू ऑफ बॉन्ड, जब मार्केट में प्राइस आया, सपोज देयर इज मोर डिमांड फॉर दैट बॉन्ड, 100 करोड़ का इश्यूएंस था, बट डिमांड आज की डेट में जब हो सकता है कि 150 करोड़ की डिमांड हो, 200 करोड़ की डिमांड हो, और मोर पीपल आर इंटरेस्टेड इन बाइंग दिस बॉन्ड, the price of the bond has increased to 100 rupees 50 पैसा. डिमांड बढ़ गया, ठीक है. नाउ कूपन रेट इज 10%. इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट डेट था से 11th of January 2022 इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट डेट. सेटलमेंट मैं पहले इसको थोड़ा सा और बेसिक करता हूं एक्सप्लेनेशन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. आपको प्राइस ऑफ अ बॉन्ड कैसे समझना है. आपका प्राइस ऑफ अ बॉन्ड 100.5 है. एंड नाउ यू वांट टू सी मैं आज खरीदूंगा तो मेरे को कितना पैसा देना पड़ेगा. तो आपको दो चीजों का ध्यान में रखना है. एक, आपको अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट कितना देना पड़ेगा और उस प्राइस में आपको वो ऐड आता है, यानी एडिशन होता है. व्हाट इज इन अ सिंपलेस्ट फॉर्मेट अगर मैं एक्सप्लेन करूं तो बॉन्ड हैज अ साइकिल ऑफ इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट. हाइपोथेटिकली अगर कोई बॉन्ड है जो मंथली इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट करता है, यानी कि 30th of every month इन्वेस्ट करता है, तो जिस भी इन्वेस्टर के हाथ में या डीमैट अकाउंट में वो बॉन्ड होगा 30th of that month उसका वो पूरा 1 तारीख से लेकर 30th तारीख तक का इंटरेस्ट क्रेडिट हो जाएगा. सपोज अगर किसी इन्वेस्टर ने 15th of that particular month को वो बॉन्ड खरीदा, तो जो पहला इन्वेस्टर था जिसने 15 तारीख तक वो बॉन्ड अपने पास रखा था, वो फर्स्ट 15 डेज का इंटरेस्ट टेक्निकली उस इन्वेस्टर का होना चाहिए और 15 से 30 तक का जो न्यू इन्वेस्टर को मिलना चाहिए. ठीक है, इसको बोलते हैं इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट बीच का अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट डेट और डेज कैलकुलेट करना. तो आपका प्राइस ऑफ अ बॉन्ड प्लस अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट ऑफ 15 डेज इज व्हाट यू हैव टू पे परचेज दिस बॉन्ड. जब प्राइस पे अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट ऐड होता है उसको बोलते हैं डर्टी प्राइस. वेयरएज जो क्लीन प्राइस यानी कि फेयर वैल्यू ऑफ द बॉन्ड होता है उसको बोलते हैं क्लीन प्राइस यानी करंट प्राइस ऑफ अ बॉन्ड, जिसमें अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट ऐड नहीं होता. अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट का कंपोनेंट जो आपने आज पे किया, वो से 15th को आपने बॉन्ड परचेज करते समय 100.05 पे किया प्लस 4.63 पे किया. फॉर एग्जांपल ऑफ आवर कैलकुलेशन आपने 105.13 अमाउंट पे किया. बट ऑन द इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट डेट आपको वो टोटल 30 डेज का इंटरेस्ट क्रेडिट होगा. ये पॉइंट मुझे फिर से एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ेगा. मुझे लगता है कि अगर मैंने क्लियर नहीं समझाया है या किसी के पास डाउट हो तो प्लीज रेज योर हैंड्स और यू कैन पुट इन क्वेरीज. अब इसको हम इसमें समझते हैं एज अ ट्रांजेक्शनल वैल्यू में कि मैं अगर आज बॉन्ड खरीद रहा हूं तो मेरे को टोटल कितना कंसिडरेशन अमाउंट या कितना पैसा देना पड़ेगा. 100 रुपी फेस वैल्यू था बॉन्ड का, क्लीन प्राइस उसकी थी 100.50, कूपन रेट 10% है, इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट डेट है 11th Jan 2022, यानी कि लास्ट इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट था उसका 11 जनवरी 2022 को. मैं आज खरीद रहा हूं फॉर एन एग्जांपल 30th जून 2022 को, यानी कि 11 जनवरी से 30th जून के बीच में नंबर ऑफ डेज कितने हो जाएंगे, 169 डेज हो जाएंगे. इतने दिन का अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट मुझे सेलर को देना पड़ेगा सो दैट आई कैन बाय दिस बॉन्ड, क्योंकि उतना पीरियड ऑफ दैट बॉन्ड वो सेलर ने होल्ड किया हुआ था, यानी सामने वाले इन्वेस्टर ने होल्ड किया हुआ था. तो हाउ विल आई कैलकुलेट माय प्राइस ऑफ अ, वो अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट का वैल्यू निकालना पड़ेगा, यानी कि कूपन रेट इनटू 169 डिवाइड बाय 368, मतलब जितने दिन उस इन्वेस्टर ने होल्ड किया था उतने दिन का मेरे को उसको ईयरली ब्याज का पैसा देना पड़ेगा, व्हिच इज 4.63 फॉर आवर कैलकुलेशन दिस पर्पस. तो मेरे लिए डर्टी प्राइस क्या होगा, 100.5 इज द प्राइस ऑफ अ बॉन्ड plus 4.63 यानी 105.13 is the dirty price of the bond which I am purchasing. If the face value of a bond is 10 lakh rupees, तो मेरा total consideration amount हो गया 10,51,300 rupees. This is what I am paying to purchase the bond. But is this the correct price to understand? Yes, this is the consideration amount, but that 4 rupees 63 paisa is an accrued interest which you have paid, which will come back to you on the next interest payment cycle. So जब next interest payment date आएगा, यानी अगर ये annual interest payment bond है, last payment हुआ था 11th Jan 22 को, तो 11th Jan 23 में जब ब्याज आएगा तो ये जो 169 डेज का आपने आज accrued interest पे किया था ये भी आपके अकाउंट में आएगा टोटल. So the residual time period of 169 days for which you have paid the accrued interest will be credited back to the investor's account on the next interest payment date, because issuer will pay interest payment to the investor of the bond On the record date, he will verify who is holding the bond on the record date, and the IP date, the amount for the entire tenure will be credited as per the interest payment cycle. If it is a monthly paper, every month the interest will be credited on a particular interest payment date. If it is a semi-annual interest payment paper, every 6 months on a specific date, the money interest will be credited to the demat account of the to the bank account of the investor who's holding the bond in their demat. And if it is an annual interest payment cycle, the interest for the entire year will be credited in the account for the investor who is holding the demat on the record date.
Okay.
This is how you calculate the price of the bond. The difference, as an investor, you should always consider that you are paying a clean price and a dirty price. So you need to understand that at 105.13, this is not the fair price of the bond. 4.63 is the accrued interest you are paying. This can be on the, 105.13 is the total dirty price, but transactional value is always on the clean price, or 100.5 is the price of the bond which you are paying. So it is not high premium. It is the price of the bond is 100.5. 4.6 is the accrued interest which you are paying, which you will receive back on the next interest payment. So XIRR calculation or a bond yield calculation is not a very easy job for an investor. Typically, bond brokers or as bond large institutional investors, they know how to calculate, or they try to do it in a better format. If they do it in an Excel format, which is a cumbersome format of calculating the yields of or the XIRR value of the bond. But for as an individual investor, if I have to do it for myself, it is very tedious task. First and foremost, I need to know all the future cash flow dates to the precise level of the RBI holiday calendars. That has to be considered into, because if the interest payment date comes onto a particular date, which is a Diwali, your date of the interest payment will change. If you're going to be preponed or postponed, depending upon what it is mentioned in the information memorandum. If the bond has a staggered redemption value, where the principal is coming in a staggered format, again you have to work onto it in terms of how the yield, effective yield, has to be calculated. So there are some permutations and combinations which are required to calculate the effective price or an yield of a bond. There's a difficulty which we have seen for the investors. So what we have done is we have curated a bond calculator. This is one of the unique calculators not available anywhere in India. It is only with IndiaBonds, which has the advantage of you to calculate the price or yield of a bond at any given moment of time, any part of the day, any time of the day, from anywhere, on your desktop, on your mobile. You can do it, and you can have a complete breakup of clean price, dirty price, accrued interest, number of days, everything you want to require, you want to verify. This is a website, indiabonds.com. You can log in. Since I have already signed up on this website, I can access to this calculator. On the extreme right hand side, there's an icon for the calculator where you can click on, and you can calculate for the number of bonds or the data which you want to extract, which is basically the price or an yield. This is a widget. I'm going to expand it so the larger audience can see it. Now, first and foremost, to start off with, the basic thing is, let's understand what it is available. So as an help and support, we have curated a small video to how to use this calculator. You can run through it and you can get maximum education about the bond calculator. We have also covered the basic definitions of all the things which are required to understand, like what a bond yield is, how it has to be calculated, it has to be derived, what is YTM, which is the most important formula, or the YTM calculation for which we are here right now to understand. Obviously, you don't have to run through with all these calculations in the format of jargon which is written. मतलब for the larger audience, आपको ये पूरा calculation इस format में नहीं करना है. We have done all this hard work for you to have a basic understanding. What is an yield spread? What are the price of the bond different from the face value? Some definitions already been there. So I'll come back straight to the calculation mechanism. So once you are there are two options: new arrivals, past searches, whichever way you want to go around. If you have done past searches, you will have some options. If you are new to this website, you will get new arrivals. I will take, say, for an example, HDFC bond or Housing Development Corporation, HDFC Finance Corporation Limited. The coupon rate of this security is 740. Maturity date is 2/6/2025. There is no call option. There is no put option. The face value of the bond is 10 lakh rupees. This is a secured bond. There is no put option. If I want to read more about the details of the bond, I can view more details, and I can have a detailed view of this bond. My calculator is still on my right hand side to help me, assist me in calculations. This is the security details, coupon, ratings, issue size, etc. Basic cash flow. What am I paying to buy this bond? Principal amount and accrued interest. What is my payoff profile or the cash flow? Interest received on 2023, 2024 is an annual interest payment, and 2025 I will get my last interest payment as well as my principal component or the redemption value. So total my payout and a breakup of this payout. Total details have been given. Now I'll go with the calculation function of the same calculator in the expanded mode. This is the bond. This bond is available at 100.0466 price or 7.35% yield. The coupon was 7.40. It is available 7.35. I'll just do only 7.35 yield and calculate. I will get the price of the bond 100.04 यानी at par value पे ये 0.0466% का premium है. That's the reason why your coupon and yield are not much of a difference. But I'll gonna do it for multiple pricing as well.
So
if I am
Harit,
doing,
will this be available only for the inventory that you have with IndiaBonds, or this can be done for any bonds?
This can be done for any bond. I have just done the calculation which is available for the inventory which is available with me on the IndiaBond. Now, this gives us the idea or the indication for people to understand. Now, as an investor तो और एज अ परचेजर मैं बोलूंगा मुझे मर्सिडीज बेंज चाहिए 2 लाख रुपए में, पर क्या वो मिलेगी मुझे 2 लाख रुपए में? तो नहीं पॉसिबल है. सो दिस गिव्स मी एज एन इंडिकेटर. आई कैन आस्क फॉर, मेरे को एचडीएफसी का बॉन्ड 10% में दे दो. I can do the calculation. Can I get the 10% yield? Yes, I can do the calculation at 10. यानी कि 100 rupee par value of a bond is available at 93.9869. But will it be available? That is a secondary question. But from the calculation perspective, the calculator is effective to do all these permutations and combinations. So if you have something,
the breakup of that accrued interest also,
I will do it. Yes, I am showing you. So I was going step by step. If I can do it on the yield basis, or I can do it on the basis of price. Now, instead of entering the yield, let me try and put 98 rupees as a price of the bond. If I want to apply, what will be the yield? If I am buying 98 rupees, means at par value I am buying discounted bond. So मेरा effective yield कितना हो जाएगा? 8.219, which means coupon से ज़्यादा हो गया. So I bought it at a lower price, so my effective yield is higher. Vice versa, if I bought it at a higher price, 105 rupees, what will happen to my effective yield? If I'll calculate, my yield is lower than the coupon. So price and yield has a inverse relationship. Now I am doing it for the settlement value for tomorrow, that is T plus 1, 16.9. I can add number of bonds. I want to add 1 bond, 2 bond, 3 bond. I can calculate it, and this calculator will throw me the results. Now, one of the unique feature of this calculator is not only for the yield or the price which you have mentioned, it will calculate it for 10 basis point yield higher and lower for you to understand, so that अगर price में calculation में आपको yield और verify करनी है, justify करनी है, you can get it. So 5.34 की जगह 5.24 भी करता है और 5.44 भी करता है, 0.10% higher और 0.10 basis lower भी करता है, which and up to 4 decimal places it will give you the precise calculation. So if I have to purchase this bond at 105 rupees price or 5.34 yield, I can take the breakup also. This is my settlement amount 32 lakhs. मैं calculation के लिए और 1 bond करता हूँ. So 10 lakh rupee वाला bond I am getting at 10.71. I am buying it a premium. ठीक है ना?
And
इसमें
this is the absolute return. The yield that you're showing is the absolute return that the investor will get. No confusion about clean price, dirty price.
I am showing you that this is the annualized yield which the investor will get. The difference when you're paying 10 lakh 71,000 or 71,000 more than the face value of a bond. Okay? You have to understand that this is the settlement price. It has a component of interest income as well, accrued interest. So principal amount is 10 lakh 50,000 or 105 rupee 105 and 100 rupee, sorry, 105 value you are paying 10 lakh 50,000, or this is the price of the bond you are paying.
Understood.
Settlement price is a dirty price, which is a component of additional accrued interest, which is 21,490 rupees as an accrued interest, which is to be paid because there is an accrued interest of 106 days. Last IP date was 2/6/2022. ठीक है ना? आपको जून 2 जून को लास्ट इंटरेस्ट पेमेंट पे हुआ था, उसके बाद से अगर हम 16 सितंबर को ट्रेड करेंगे तो 106 डेज ऐड हो गए. दैट इंटरेस्ट इज यू हैव टू पे अक्रूड इंटरेस्ट. That amount works out to be 10,71,000. So principal amount plus accrued interest. This is how you calculate the price. I'll give you some more advantages of this calculator. Suppose मेरे को HDFC देख लिया, मैं कुछ और बॉन्ड देखना चाहूँ. Can I see State Bank of India bond? I can calculate it. Now that bond doesn't have a call option, whereas this bond is a call option. So this will calculate the yield to call. Can you read here? That was YTM. Yes. Out here it is YTC. It is calculating the
yield
YTC,
to call.
Yield to call.
Because this is a perpetual bond, so in that.
Yes, this is a perpetual bond which is a call date. Okay. Now if I'll say I have to calculate it, this is available at, मैं again 101 पे price पे calculate करना चाहता हूँ. So what will be my value? If I'll do 101, 7.75 कूपन वाला बॉन्ड में 7.75 की जगह my effective yield becomes to 7.49 और approximately 7.5% बन गई. मतलब 7.75 से yield कम नीचे आ गई, प्राइस ऊपर चला गया.
And ये our offer price जो नीचे लिख के आ रहा है, what you have written, this will only come in case of which inventory you have, which you are giving or which you currently you are looking at selling. But in case if that is not case, still price can be calculated and then they can request for a quote for the same.
Yes, they can request for the quote if they want to change the price or if there is a security for which this has not been available. For an example, I'm talking about, you can search the bond on the basis of name or nomenclature. You can give me some bonds which I don't have in my books. Let's see NTPC. Okay, I would like to search NTPC bonds. There are so many bonds which are available for NTPC. I would like to calculate, say, a bond which was matured. This is 16, a 2-year bond. Okay, maturity date 16th May 2024. I don't have a cash flow for this bond. You can request for the cash flow for this bond, and once you say you want request, within 48 hours, as Sunny mentioned, we will try and come back to you with the cash flow so you can calculate it. So we have thousands of bonds in our cash flows, but there is a possibility that might be some bonds which are not available, because if you know there are more than 17,000 ISINs available in the market, we will try and cover whatever it is not available. We'll be able to share the cash flows as soon as possible. Now, my past searches, I will look for, say, HDFC Credila Financial Services. Now, this bond, I don't have it in my books. There is no security or offer from this for this bond in my books. But I can still do the
question around the bond calculator. HK Joshi is asking, can you put a different date instead of today's date in this calculator?
Yes, sir. We can do it. I'll just show it right now. So, for example, this bond is available. Coupon rate was 8.15. I want to see effective yield to me. What will be the price of the bond if I'll buy it? Say 8.20. And I don't want to buy it on 16th. Probably, can I do it on 17th? Yes, I can do it. It will calculate it. Sorry. Please enter Monday to Friday. Sorry. because it's a Saturday working day, it will not cancel. So we have considered even the weekly holidays as well. So 17th being a Saturday, I will not be able to execute the trade. 19th working day, it will calculate the yield, and it will calculate the accrued interest for the remaining days before the settlement. I can change the date from 19, say I want to do it on 22nd Thursday. If I want to calculate the transaction on the same yield, the yield is not changing, but your absolute price will keep on changing because the accrued interest value will keep on adding. Now it is 77 days. For example, it's 17,193 is the accrued interest for 77 days. If I do it on 23rd and calculate it, my effective still remains the same, but my accrued interest has added from 1730 to 17416 because now it's counting for 78 days. The factors affecting the yield are all the above. Level of interest rates in the market. In the rising interest rate scenario, say in last couple of months, we have seen the repo rate has been hiked by central bank by 140 basis point, which will affect the price of the bond because the borrower will have to now offer higher interest rate to borrow the same amount of money, and the existing bond will go into discount. Credit quality of the issuers, yes, this will also affect the price of a bond. For an example, if you have the bond has a life cycle of 5 years, the issuer company is into business of generating some revenues. If there is a cheap problem in the growth in the economy, if there is slowdown in the economy, if there is some financial issues with the issuer or the company and the credit quality depreciates, again the price of the bond will, now in this case the price of the bond will go down. Whereas on the vice versa, if the company starts performing far better and the credit rating of the company is being increased, then a company can borrow at lower yields. Fresh money can be borrowed at lower yields. The price of the bond will go up. Now the bond will be traded at premium. Liquidity of a bond, yes. In a sense, if the bond is more liquid, the advantage is you get a very fair pricing of a bond, and a correct price, because there is more buyers and more sellers at the time of transactions. If there is very few buyers or sellers, or nobody is interested to sell or nobody is interested to buy, it will affect the price of a bond, because at times either a seller may become desperate to sell the bond, or the buyer becomes desperate to buy the bond, which will distort the price. Bond maturity, it also affects the price of a bond sometimes. For an example, if the bond is closer to the maturity date and less than a 1 year, it will not be treated as a long-term bond, it will be treated as a short-term bond, because हमारे language में कहेंगे money market instrument हो गया, lesser duration उसका maturity का बचा है. So there is less chances of the issuer to have any kind of effect on the basis of an interest rate or default. Sometimes the bond price becomes higher or the yield comes down. Demand and the supply, same format. More people chasing the bond, तो हमारा logic, demand बढ़ता है तो price बढ़ जाता है, demand घटता है तो price घट जाता है. यानी कि in a way, demand बढ़ गया तो yield नीचे आ जाएगी, demand घट गया तो yield ऊपर चली जाएगी. या supply ज्यादा आ गया तो आपकी yield नीचे आ जाएगी, supply कम हो गया तो yield ऊपर चली जाएगी.